Hi, this is Malcolm Nance. And if you are here, you have come to the Black Man Spy Daily U.S. Iran war something ish cast. Today, it is the Trump Straits cast. And we will explain why, because obviously this no Strait of Hormuz does not belong to Iran or Oman. It belongs as a sovereign territory of the United States. We're going to talk about that statement. This is Wajeeh all ready to become the governor of the of the Strait of the territory.
I'll be the new governor of the Strait of Hormuz.
That's right. And you know what? You're
at the new
qualified.
New Kalali.
We will have to see about
position.
that. Today is day 34 of the second phase of the U.S.-Iran war. It is day 168 since the United States and Israel surprise attacked and blitzed Iran, attempting to wipe out their nuclear program, their armed forces. Things have not gone well because we are on day 168. It was supposed to be 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at the top. At one point, it was actually said by someone in the White House that they thought the regime after the decapitation would fall in 3 days, a 3-day special military operation. That sounds vaguely familiar to me. Where have I heard that before, Vladimir Putin? So, but you know what? These 3-day SMOs do not go well for dictators and orange tater tots. Well, let's introduce today's panel, our everyday's panel. Jacob Karsbo, Danish intelligence officer extraordinaire, who is back from his tuxedo shows at the Copenhagen Shooting Society. And then we have Wajeeh, the excessively gay lion, coming from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm giving you those superlatives, Wajeeh, because I'm Trumpifying you so that you can be the governor of the U.S. territory of Hormuz. And
I'll take it.
You know, I have a lot of very witty people here, and those of you who are paid subscribers and who are in the chat, somebody says it's 24 weeks now, and who are in the lower chat, there are some very clever people there. And someone sent me a photo today in yesterday's commentary, and I'm going to show it to you, which is the symbol of the new territory that the United States has occupied. See if you can figure it out, because it's code to me, and as a code breaker, I have a very hard time understanding that. So that is some wit's impression of the Strait of Hormuz. I couldn't stop laughing. I sent that picture out to everybody I know, except for you guys. I saved it for you this morning. Somebody says, good morning from Butler, Pennsylvania, home of the ear tampon. Hello, Butler, Pennsylvania. Wow. You know, I'm from Philadelphia, and Butler is way out west, like near Latrobe or something, near Pittsburgh. And I never heard of it before. And the funny thing is, after the assassination attempt, never heard of it again until this morning. Until somebody from Butler reminds me that there is such a place from Butler, Pennsylvania. Funny how that place just dropped off the historical radar, is it not? Very, very interesting. All right. Well, Wajeeh, do you have a coffee mug today? I have one. I'm waiting for yours.
Yeah.
Are you still
my orientation is coming up here in 2 weeks.
School
getting ready.
Yeah, school boy. I see how that is. What? And Jacob, what are you watching
It's matching
today?
color too, huh?
Oh, your CIA spy thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, today I'm back. I switched back to my exceptionally dainty Ethiopian Airlines first class mug, which apparently somebody stole from first class and gave it to me as a gift. And it's very funny because it sort of magically showed up in my house and my stuff, and I'm like, I haven't flown Ethiopian Airlines, never. And but this mug is awesome because with it comes delicious, delicious double espresso. And if I was in Ethiopia, I'd be having that Ethiopian coffee, which is delicious.
Which is very dark roast.
Oh, very dark roast. You know, most of it comes from Ethiopia, and
exactly,
or our coffee spot of the year, mocha, because we are going to talk extensively about mocha today. That being said, which is our transition phrase for this show, Wajeeh, can you please show us the price of the most delicious liquid in the world, which is apparently oil?
Delicious?
Crude. Light.
You want to know a funny story about that delicious oil? When the founding king of Saudi Arabia was introduced to oil and he was taken to the oil field, he was like, ew, what's that smell? And they were like, oh, that's the smell of oil. He goes, oh, give me more of it.
Hey, quick pause. Julia says, my granny's ghost visited you, Malcolm. Stealing from airlines was a secret hobby of hers. This is why I love my paid subscribers. The comments are hilarious. I'm sorry, Wajeeh. That required a pause. So what is the price of oil? Wow, WTI's at, what is that, 82.40? What's what's the price differential? Is it going up, going down? We can't see that.
It's going $1.15. For the Brent crude is going up
or down?
Up $1. Brent crude is also up $1. But interestingly, OPEC is the same.
Interesting. Well, they're trying to regulate their oil. Interesting that we're still in the high 80s. And for those of thank you, Wajeeh, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
for those of you who have not seen it, I'm going to put the link up in the chat, but over on YouTube is my interview with Matt Reynolds, who is, Randolph. Matt Randolph. He is Mr. Global. And you think we have a fun, hilarious time talking. We had a blast on that one. I did not whip out, because I couldn't get to it during our recording, but I did not whip out my my Alan Turing comfy.
You already uploaded it?
Phone. They upload automatically. That was yesterday's show. My producers in Portland. The weekly show has producers. So that is already up on YouTube. You can go up to the Black Man Spot podcast.
It's not on Substack. It's only on YouTube.
Not yet. I will transfer it to Substack, but you know that there are some licensing issues there, right? So it is up on YouTube. I will post the link so that you can go watch it. It is now the number one thing that I've had. That's funny because John Fugelsang was the number one. I don't know why. I love John Fugelsang. He's my buddy. But that thing got like hundreds of thousands of views. This thing is well on its way up to being one of my top ones. And we talk about oil and, you know, this and where oil comes from, whether we're getting to floor tank bottom. He said some crazy ass shit in there. Here's an interesting one. Someone in the administration actually said the United States could bring the Strategic Petroleum Reserve down to 70 million barrels and not worry about it. Remember that 270 was the war-fighting deck. It was the bottom. You could not go below that, the United States. Now there's people in the energy department saying, halas, why not? Let's go to 70. Let's just use it all, which is artificially keeping oil prices.
Did you discuss that the quality when you go all the way to the bottom is way worse when
Yes.
you?
Yes. And matter of fact, he educated me yesterday on what happens. Those caverns, those giant caverns that were carved out to hold the oil. You know how you get the oil, right? You have to inject water in there. So we are filling these caverns with water and the oil is rising to the top. And at some point, you're going to get to what I describe as salad dressing, which is an equal parts mix of water and sludge. And he was like, yeah, when we get to that point, we don't have any refineries that can break that out. We're fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is an interesting one. I will post the link. You guys can go over and watch it. It is an exciting and interesting show. And the first thing, one of the things that he said was, he goes, the first time I ever saw you ever was on Mario Nawafal's show. And I swear to God, the first words I ever heard you say were, I don't know, go ask Mr. Global. And I said, I don't dabble in places I don't know the job, right? So we passed it on to Mr. Global, and he is the guy. He has a show too that has a military guy on there, and they come at it. So that guy. You want to talk about oil, tech bottom, strategic petroleum reserves? Talk to him. He really knows what he's talking about. And we did a lot of laughing.
And what
so
does
that
he
we wouldn't
foresee?
cry. Nothing good. He now thinks that they're playing a waiting game to see who breaks first. We're going to discuss that when we talk about sanctions here.
Yeah.
We discussed it extensively yesterday about this new sanctions plan, supposedly going to implement the Israeli recommended plan to get everyone around Iran to suddenly stop trading with Iran and to do a ground boycott. Interesting.
That's not gonna happen. Didn't we say we brought that up actually yesterday?
No,
And I said
about
how
Jacob. Jacob wasn't here, so
oh
I mentioned that.
that's right. No, my bad. Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about that yesterday, and I'll recap it today a little bit. The geography, I did it on Mario Nawafal's show last night, where I went country by country, and I said, did you know the entire time of this war that small dhows from Iran were going back and forth and never stopped going back and forth between Dubai and Bandar Abbas? You can see these guys in the dhows like, boom, hey, that tanker just blew up. But I have air conditioners from Dubai. Trade never stopped. And, for us to start thinking we're going to cut down the Silk Road and suddenly cut it off from everybody.
Delusional.
I just thought there was an explosion this morning today, and
there was.
There was.
It's been confirmed.
Roger Sellenbach goes, how now, Brown Dow?
Welcome to the Middle East. We may be friends, but we'll destroy each other's houses.
Well, I did discuss the whole camel souk thing with him yesterday to explain that they all sell camels. They may curse and spit and cuss at each other, but you're coming in. Trump's coming in from the outside. He's going to get a single camel with the word donkey with the word camel painted on the side. Okay, let's go to the significant activity of the day. Strait of Hormuz, as Wajeeh mentioned, if somebody could get me the exact quote, Waj, Donald Trump, I don't want to play the video because I've decided I am not giving him airtime. In front of a bunch of cops yesterday, he declared that when the war is almost over, we're going to destroy Iran utterly, right? And when we do that, he will declare the Strait of Hormuz a U.S. territory.
The quote is, pretty soon, I'll be declaring the Strait of Hormuz a territory of the United States.
I don't think you're pronouncing it right. There you go. Let me give you a visual reminder of how to look. If you look up, you can see how to pronounce it properly. Hormuz.
Hormuz.
That's how he pronounced it, is Hormuz. So go ahead. Please continue while this reference sits. Jacob is dying. It killed me for a solid half hour yesterday. Go on. So watching, you were saying, say the quote. Say it good.
But at least we know there was a spectacular penetration on a tanker today.
Well, he tried to justify it.
We got the spectacular penetration, and we I'll just go and read it.
He goes then he goes and adds, essentially that's what we have the blockade. No ships gets through unless we want it to.
Where's the part where he's going to turn it into a U.S. territory? Get to that.
Well, pretty soon I'll be declaring the Strait of Hormuz a territory of the United States of America. Thank you for your attention. This matter, Donald J. Trump.
Okay. Look, we joke. We joke on here because the stress that is going with the incredible ridiculousness of this, whatever we want to call this, farrago. It is not foreign policy. It is not a strategy. And when you come out and you make a joke, because now the White House is coming out this morning and saying that it was a joke, even though Trump said right afterwards, I'm not joking, really, and said it again. He said this about Greenland, said this about Venezuela, said this about Cuba. He said this several times about the Strait of Hormuz. Okay? The point that we're making here, even though we laugh, because, of course, this is exactly how an intelligence briefing happens. He may, in fact, have to, he has actually verbalized and followed through on what he verbalized. So he may actually, in the fantasy that's in his head, where he constantly says, and he said it about 20 times yesterday, we control the Strait of Hormuz, not the Arabs, not the Iranians. We do. And he really
it's mine.
believes that.
It is mine, not yours.
Remember he was going to call it the Strait of Trump?
Yes,
that was March. In March,
but
he said that.
Did anyone ask him why he signed the MOU then?
Well,
because it was his birthday. He just wanted a birthday break.
Yes, because he was in Versailles and Macron.
It was his birthday. He had the game in front of his White House. The UFC was going out. You got a whole bunch of bikes running in the air on the lawn of the White House. It was just missing a monster truck here and there, but that was about it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as a non-student of history, Macron led him to sign that document. And I don't understand why he didn't take him to the train rail car, to the wagon meet, and actually sign it properly, like, all the rest of the people that have surrendered signed it. Okay, but all of this stuff, guys, serious business. In his mind, this is what he believes, and that he is forming foreign policy. He is risking the lives of our servicemen and women. He's risking the lives of Americans around the world. He's risking the lives of our allies. He's killed over 6,000 Iranians are dead in this war. Not just service members, civilians also. We know at least 169 schoolgirls that died in that strike on the Minab school. All right. Not a word of apology out of his mouth. But he believes now, and this is what we talked about yesterday, Jacob, that you missed with this new Scott Bessent statement. He believes he now can outweight Iran economically. He now believes that and I mentioned this on this show yesterday and on Mario's show, he doesn't care what happens to the global economy anymore. He believes, and Mr. Global and I discussed this also. He believes that the United States pumps so much oil, we don't need the Strait of Hormuz anymore.
Yeah.
And
that makes it.
But he may, in fact, now be surreptitiously, deliberately damaging our Gulf state allies as competitors.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, he's not getting a Trump Tower Riyadh. He's not getting a Trump Tower Dubai. But, Carol Ann is correct. He doesn't care for anyone. He doesn't care anymore what happens to the government. He knows he's going to lose the midterms. He's going to just ignore the laws of the next Congress. And we're going to be doing this fucking podcast day 365. Next February 28th. We'll do the 1-year anniversary of this podcast because I think that's where he's going now. And the way he talks is leading me to believe that. I always say this, if this were Idi Amin or Saddam Hussein or Muammar Gaddafi, and I was asked to do a serious assessment of their intentions on the basis of their statements, I would say they have no intention of leaving. None. No. This war's going to go on for months. What do you think?
And
if anyone has any...
The thing is,
Wajeeh, go ahead.
Bessent, now I didn't hear your discussion today, so I won't, like yesterday, but Bessent doesn't know, he doesn't have a clue about, the Middle East anyhow. So he's just saying stuff that, comes into his head and Trump believes him. But this is just a replay of what we've seen before, because then they think that their blockade will help. But the Iranians will, keep shooting at the vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, and they will keep, tightening what's going on also in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And then at some point, Trump sees, okay, this doesn't work, so we'll shoot some more, and then the Gulf states get missile pounding and drones from Iran once again. And, it seems just a circular thing.
To be clear, analysts at the moment are putting the United States in the category of a declining nation. And this is not a joke. This is not a conspiracy. This is not one analyst. This is multiple analysts, from Fareed Zakaria to Harvard to Yale to UK. Everyone right now is saying the United States is the United States is declining very fast. Biggest evidence of that is all of its allies. The UK, France, Germany, Saudi Arabia, they're all looking for new allies. No one is looking to the United States for economic agreements. No one is looking to the United States for political policies. No one is looking to the United States for inspiration when it comes to activism. No one is looking to the United States when it comes to the political arena. Everyone right now is looking to what is next. What is next? What do we need to do to survive without the United States? Because this relationship just was the evidence that this was an abusive relationship, and you would not listen back and you would not hear the rest of the world, and that's it. Khalas, over. Why do you think the world want to keep a relationship like this with someone like the United States when the leadership is just not making sense, not to its own people, nevertheless to the rest of the world?
Yeah, Iman. This is just absolutely what somebody, they're laughing at me cuddling my teddy bear. No, you were so correct. I was like, it's time to cuddle with a teddy bear and suck your thumb, because you're right. The United States is in a state of decline. And of course, on a show like this, we don't have any problem calling that out. Excuse me. Let's move on, guys.
No,
Otherwise, we're going to be living on this.
I have an important
Please.
thing here to say, because the thing is, we can talk about the Middle East, etc., and what's going on, but just look to Europe for a sec. You mentioned Germany, you mentioned the UK, etc. Only yesterday, it was reported by Bloomberg that Donald Trump has sent a letter to all the NATO allies where they have to answer questions about how they view his foreign policy. Meaning, they use it as, a planning tool to downsize their presence in Europe. And, it's Soviet techniques, it's like the Warsaw Pact back in the day. This is not NATO anymore, and Donald Trump, the U.S. is just losing credibility, because you can always talk about the economy, strength of the military, etc., etc., but the credibility and the values that we see is breaking it all.
Can you give me a pinky promise? Cross your heart, lick your tongue. Okay. No.
Wait, what? Lick your tongue?
Oh, that's a Saudi thing, I guess.
Part of the pinky promise.
That's
no, like this, and you got like like my neck would cut off if I lied. That's like lick your tongue.
Okay, that's better. Okay, go on.
Yeah.
So what are we pinky promising?
Oh yeah, we NATO out. We besties now. Like if I send you those letters, so we can make sure that we're friends. Like this is a trust test.
Pure
like
madness.
Here's that
Pure
multiple answer question. Let me know I want to know if you're an actual ally or not.
No one is ever going to fill that thing out. And I know I read your assessment yesterday, Jacob, saying Trump demanding every NATO nation affirm to them that, one, they wanted to see whether their foreign policy was going to be in alignment with Trump's. The things that they said about Trump. This is really madness, guys. I mean, this could be, it's not the end. It's just an indicator of the ego of Donald Trump is all that is driving everything that is happening to us as a nation, as a world. And it is the most dangerous situation I think the world has been in. Look, even the Russians, the Khrushchev and Stalin and all these other megalomaniacs, they had a nation around them. And they all had big egos like Stalin and all the rest. But good God, Trump views everything as I am the center of the universe and everything must align with me. And if you don't, you are my enemy. And to send this, and worse, all the fucking sycophants under him that are like, yeah, boss, let's write up a list of questions that France and Britain must sign to affirm that they like you personally, and that they will shift their defense policy to align with you personally and what you want, Donald. You're right. It's the fucking Warsaw Pact. You had to be a communist nation with a communist government put in by the communists of the Soviet Union. On pain of death, you would do the exact same fucking thing that the Soviet Union were doing, and then you had to align your nation to the Soviet Union, no matter how it impacted your people.
Subjugate your nation to the Kremlin. And this is, Trump is asking for subjugation. It's...
Well, what he needs to get is he needs to get a GFYS. Right? He needs to go fuck himself. Right? And the leader who stands up, okay, and says, hey, you can just kiss my ass. This is A, not happening. B, not happening. And C, if NATO has to go without the United States, we can do that. And we've had that discussion before. What is NATO? People are like, oh, NATO will end if America leaves. No, it won't. It's 32 nations. There will be 31 nations if that happens. America
And Ukraine
would not have. And add Ukraine back up to 32, and you get the most capable war-fighting army in the world. So, we couldn't have done this war with Iran without overseas bases and everything, and as part of the alliance. And Donald Trump doesn't seem to care. And so I'm glad you brought that up. That now re-expands us back to the geopolitical sphere. But it's absolutely insane. Hey, listen, speaking of nukes, a Russian news service interviewed the foreign minister of Iran, Iranchi, yesterday, and asked them if they had nuclear weapons or were going to have a nuclear weapons program. He said, no, we're not. And the Russians said, well, are you going to open your bases up to nuclear inspectors? And he says, we'll open our bases up to nuclear inspectors the minute Israel opens its bases up to nuclear inspections. And if we determine that they have nuclear weapons, then we are going to have nuclear weapons.
Clap them back.
That's as clear a comment as I've seen. And as a matter of fact, I was a little shocked by it. So I made sure that thing was on videotape. That was not a written statement. Arachi actually said that.
It's a classical Iranian play, that.
Yeah, of course it is. You flip the tables on everybody.
Yeah.
But he is actually reading the world too. He's seeing that, Netanyahu may have seriously damaged his country.
Would you be surprised if tomorrow somehow, somewhat, some information for some reason comes out saying, oh, Donald Trump asked U.S. intelligence agencies to spy on his allies to see what they think of him. Just to see what they think of him.
They've been doing that for 10 years. In his first administration, he did that. He had State Department, had cables out there. What is their opinion about the United States? And when he said the United States, he did not mean the United States of America. He meant Donald John Trump. And would he use NSA or, not CIA, but, because that's human intelligence. He could just get that reading the newspapers. But yeah, he could have already done that tasking. That's the sort of stupid shit thing that I expected out of, what's her name, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Right. But she somehow went internal and started investigating Georgia or something. It's absolutely insane.
The interesting thing, perhaps for our viewers to know, is that Denmark used to be one of the closest allies in Europe to the US. But this whole thing of Greenland means that the Trump administration, they have seen our Minister for Foreign Affairs, J.D. Vance, has seen him. But other than that, there's not much attention, and that's because they think this issue of Greenland will just bulldoze them anyway. So there are no meetings. It's really tough. But that's the way it is, and that's because of Trump's crazy dream of ruling over Greenland.
It's absolutely insane. He does not care about any of the relationships as they exist. He cares about himself and making money. And if there were real unity in Europe, I mean, I've got to tell you, having the NATO, the Secretary General of NATO kissing his ass all day and using that ass kissing, admitting to the media that his ass kissing was an actual strategy to keep Trump from destroying the alliance. Yeah. What kind of upside goddamn down world are we in?
Oh, is that why he called him Daddy Trump?
Yeah, we must have called him Baba Trump. Baba.
Yeah.
Baba
All right,
Trump.
let's move on, guys. Saudi Arabia Jazan oil refinery near the Yemeni border was hit again by the
Mm-hmm.
Houthis. In
That's
Yemen,
right.
Yemen is where the real action is happening right now. The Houthis launched 6 ballistic missiles and 10 one-way attack drones, that's what we call shaheeds, to Mocha again,
Mocha.
hitting what they believe to be a Saudi storage site. Turns out the other day we talked about ballistic missile attacks on a Yemeni National Army and Saudi command post that was supposedly planning operations against Yemen. There's stories in the media that they killed 3 senior Saudi officers who were part of that planning group. And
Okay.
I think Yemen's the kind of place, the Houthis are the kind of people, they have a kid on a donkey and who's selling you coffee, and that's their intelligence collectors.
Yeah.
And they can get very accurate intelligence just by looking at the quality of the Toyota Land Cruiser that comes up to the base. And if it's fully armored with leather, then it's full of Saudis, right, with Saudi license plates. These are the kind of guys that will put a Yemen license plate on their car because it's too hillbilly. So Yemen has
I
struck
actually know
Mocha
some.
again.
I actually know some big names from journalists to fighters through X, where I've spoken and interviewed some of these Yemenis. When we say like they just deal with the minimum, like they don't have running water, they probably don't have electricity all the time. They care only about their guns, their cot, and controlling factions. This is all it is. Tribes, factions. Al Houthi is a big faction, and now
Mhm.
that the Saudis are involved and that the government of Yemen is in Saudi Arabia, the Yemenis who live inside Yemen, whether they live in under the territory of the Saudi-controlled government or they live under Al Houthi, they're both looking at the government that's supported by the Saudis as an outsider. Why are you
Yes.
living in hotels,
Yeah.
5-star hotels in Saudi Arabia, foot by foot, not risking your life, not risking your kids, not risking anything, and just calling shots and calling bombs for using Saudi artillery, using Saudi planes? That's just Saudi government doing its war in Yemen. You can't call that like Yemeni. So like the Yemenis at this point, they're like done with it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you're right. The transitional government does live in Saudi Arabia. All the senior ministers, every once in a while, they'll bebop down to Aden, make a press
The
statement, and
Saudi
then fly back
ambassador to Yemen is in Saudi Arabia.
Of course he is. Well, he can work from home.
Yeah.
Why does he have to go down there? Those people have knives. I'm going to show you some video here shortly to emphasize that. Well, anyway, 4 more people have been killed in Mocha yesterday. They lost 6 people, and 4 more ballistic missiles have hit the city at 6 yesterday, 4 today. So a lot is going on in Yemen. Now, interestingly enough, there has been a call by a yes.
Apparently,
Yeah.
there's also activity in the direction of Thais, which is inland here on the same, direction as Mocha, which is out here. But Thais is the largest city up here, and the Houthis have started pushing south.
Yes, I agree. I was just going to show you some video. Yesterday, I guess Al Sayed Abdul Malik Badr al Din al Houthi, the leader of the Houthi tribes, has done the full Lord of the Rings and has called all of the Houthis of Middle Earth to come together to do, I guess, a armed jihad against the Saudis, and
Allah.
tribes have been asked to come to a tribal gathering and swear allegiance to the Houthis and to bring their best guns to march on Saudi forces and advancing Lebanese. Did I say Lebanese? Advancing Yemeni army forces. And here is a video I'm going to show you of one of those tribal groups swearing their alliance. You won't hear the audio very well, but you can see what these guys are doing, which is having a desert party where they come down and they swear their alliance.
Tailgate.
Tailgater. They bring all their guns. Look, they bring all their anti-aircraft guns.
What did I
That's
tell
real
you?
tailgate
There's
party.
more common between rednecks and the Bedouins and the hillbillies that's in the Arab world, but you guys don't want to believe it. Take a look. Take a look.
I love it.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Oh, I can't hear
That's a
anything.
fake missile, by the way. You won't hear anything. Good. You're not missing anything. We're ready. We're ready. We're going to war.
I can't.
Okay. To give you an idea of just how ingratiated weapons are into their culture,
Yes.
here is this kid's about 3, 4, maybe 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
3. Shooting a PKM machine gun.
He's a man. What do you know about manhood, Malcolm?
This is proper manhood.
No, it's not AI.
Shooting
This
the
is real. I've seen that stuff with my own eyes. This is not
real.
a joke.
Yeah, that's very real. First off, PKM machine gun almost broke my goddamn shoulder. Right? You better get some pads on the end of the PKM. That's the first thing you learn about it. Right? That thing it's 7.62 by 51. It's got some kick to it. And here's the kid. Woo, ah. And, the guy's going, go. It's powerful. So
those
that is
tribes
a
and
Yemeni
mountains.
child.
Some of those tribes and mountains have the M20 mounted like on the ground, so it doesn't move. It's just M20 and the very long
big
gun,
machine gun.
It doesn't move. It does. There's no recoil because it's mounted like it's. I've never seen that done before, but they're getting really creative using the M20 and the bigger guns as well. So I'm not surprised they're hitting U.S. targets.
This is interesting because somebody just brought it up on the chat, and I just did a quick search on it, and it's coming from the Jerusalem Post that 3 Iranian military pilots are being held in Qatar that were shot down, I guess, from the Su-24 fencers which were attacking Iran, attacking Qatar. But I had the impression that they were all dead and that they had returned their remains to them. It says in the report, it was previously presumed that they have died. And Iran has informed Qatar the pilots must be allowed to contact their families, which is Geneva Convention protocol within 24 hours of confirming that they're alive. What would be the purpose of keeping those guys? Somebody says only one of them died. There's 4 guys in the aircraft. But generally when a Patriot hits you, not much is going to be left of you. You're not going to know it's there long enough for you to eject, right? It's a big missile. So that's an interesting development that just was breaking news recently. But I'm not quite sure of that. The IRGC is saying that. And if that's true, the IRGC is just going to go to Qatar and say, yeah, we're going to add $1 billion ransom to that. You guys can pay us $1 billion for holding our pilots for stress. You didn't keep them at the Biltmore, or the Rotana Doha. No, you had these guys in a box. And what would the purpose of this be? We destroyed their Air Force. So what are you going to get out of these guys? What's that? I see somebody. 90 millimeter recoilless rifle.
This is the one I'm telling you about.
That is a 90 millimeter recoilless rifle. Yeah. So
they say it's called M20 for some reason on here.
Yeah. So, well, that is pretty much all of the big news for today. It is Saturday. We want to give you guys a break so you guys can go out. And and thank you for that tipper about the Qatari pilots or the Iranian pilots. I, for one, don't believe that. I think they would have probably been returned with, I don't know, that $24 billion in cash that, we gave them. Unless they were like keeping them and letting the Americans try to flip them for propaganda purposes. Geneva Convention states that. And if they actually did keep them, then there's 6 months in violation of the Geneva Convention, all right? Which means they've committed war crimes. Oh, yeah. Yesterday, I went through some of them starting earlier this morning. We only have 45. We had 117 yesterday. So I already answered some of them. A lot about the thing. Somebody said, check my info at FAFOPAC email. All right, I will. Thank you, Robert Schwellenbach. He sent me some pictures. He's the guy who put up the Strait of Hormuz. Somebody, Mike says, it seems that the U.S. Wajeeh, did you just get the joke?
No, I got it a while ago. I just think it's still funny. I still think it's funny.
Okay. For a minute there, I just think you got it. Okay.
I think it seems that the
U.S. may be quietly quitting. This Isma. It is funny. Isma. It seems that the U.S. may be quietly quitting the war in Iran. Could the Mango Maniac have realized that this is a losing proposition and just be walking away slowly so he doesn't have to claim the loss directly? There was a very funny AI video that was done like Hitler's downfall video, right? And they had AI impose the heads of all the staff, and it's Trump in this room, and he kicks everybody out of the room except for a few advisors. And it's Howard Lutnick who comes out and says, listen, yeah, we know we lost, but let's just say we won, have a big parade and talk about how Iran no longer has nuclear capability and that, we got everything we wanted and we just walk away. And he goes, yeah, but that wouldn't be true. He goes, it will be for MAGA.
They could have just made it.
It's true.
I wish they went to Hollywood.
The guy is AI.
If they went to Hollywood and spent maybe like a quarter of what they spent in this war, it would have been way better propaganda video than all of this war. I swear. We wasted a couple $1 trillion. We wasted alliances. This is hideous. Is that correct use of the word hideous?
Is a state of mind, right? Yes, well, hideous it's just effing ugly, right? So it's important to understand that Donald Trump, one way or another, doesn't care whether it's hideous or not. we talked about this in the Mr. Global thing, and yes, I'm putting the link up right now. That's funny. The number one search thing for Mr. Global is Malcolm Nance and Mr. Global. Thank you, YouTube patrons. I'm putting this up right now, and one of the things that I asked was about why all these fucking refineries are blowing up. And you guys know I hate a conspiracy theory. And I said, is there some sort of refined fuels mafia that's like, oh no, we can't have these refineries coming online? And he goes, well, why do you think the one in Australia blew up right after the oil shot up to $120 a barrel?
Shut up.
I was like, you mean there is a refined fuel mafia? And he goes, so long as there's money involved, there's always going to be an interest to take those refineries offline.
Yeah.
The look of surprise on my face was that's some Tom Clancy shit. And unfortunately, we are living in a world where Tom Clancy bullshit is actually happening. It's actually happening around us. And we need to understand that there are people pulling the levers of power now, and we can all see it. Right? Trump does it all the time. Yeah, Elizabeth says a good interview, some real shocking words. I just couldn't get to my teddy bear fast enough during that show, so you don't see me hugging my teddy bear and crying in a corner. But he says some things there that are straight up just facts of life as they exist. The more oil that is decreased in the market raises the price. He also said the price of physical oil and the price of futures is pure fantasy on the future market. He says once that oil hits into barrels and lands in a country, it shoots up there $120, $150 a barrel. And we are living in a ridiculously crazy market, which is being manipulated. And he says manipulation is happening. It's just, all the things we would like to deny are happening are just happening before our very eyes. And we got to stop denying that. Okay, I'm going to get that video up there very shortly.
It's also important for our viewers to understand that it's not as simple as just Trump saying, okay, I'll disengage, because the Iranians won't say, okay, then we'll just let every ship sail. That's not how it works. So that won't mean the oil will start flowing again.
Yep, very true. But this is part of the problem. In his head, if he decides it, it's happening.
Yeah.
Right? And that's delusion. It's the definition of delusion.
Yeah.
That his reality is such that if I say it, it happens. And that's why he's upset. He actually thinks that by saying, I'm taking steam catapults off the aircraft carrier, that it already done. It'll happen tomorrow. They'll be shooting with steam.
There needs to be some sort of call to action. Whether we have elected leaders from each state, two from each from each state in the Senate, and depending on our population in the House. And yet I don't feel like they're doing their job. They're not being leaders. This is the time I'm expecting every single representative and every single senator on the floor demanding answer, demanding things, demanding action, not going on recess, not going on campaigns, not. This is I don't know if you consider it a national emergency, but I think this is this is worse as a national emergency could get. I don't care if you I don't care what you do. You need to show up. The other thing is that there are people that are elected that don't even show up to their committee meetings, nevertheless, never show up to vote. This is driving me nuts. Like, why are you elected and not doing your job? We understand we have someone in the White House that is not steering us in the right direction. Wasn't there supposed to be checks and goddamn balances?
Yes. And
No,
my problem, and
they're gone.
I say this all the time on other channels when I get really shouty, like when I go on the Stephanie Miller radio show. Why are they not speaking up? The phrase,
Mm.
I mean, we should be at a point where Democrats should be shouting and enraged all the time. And what we get is strong fucking letters from our Democratic leadership. Strong letters, and strongly worded letters. And no, we need the leaders who are out there who are going to get up in their face and say, I say this on television and radio all the time. You need to say, you're an effing liar. You're a liar. You're lying to us right now. How dare you? And you know what? You watch CNN, they have those roundtable debates, and they'll be like, oh no, that's not very good. You shouldn't say that. And then every once in a while, you get a black journalist like Charles Blow who will go up and he will say, "You're a liar. You're a liar. Every word you just came out of your mouth is a lie." And then they stop bringing him on. You know. And by the way, full disclosure, there's some right-wing crazies out there who have passed this theme around that I was fired from MSNBC because everything I was saying was not true. Now, I quit MSNBC. They offered me a contract. I quit to join the Ukrainian army. All right. I was going to do something that was honorable and help the people that I had come to really respect. But you know what? My biggest problem is that I would tell you exactly what I thought. There is no coaching school for television, right? People tend to change their opinions and moderate them for the tone of the television. And when I was on MSNBC for 7 years, everyone knew people sat up when I would start to talk because you were not going to get a moderated, soft voice of opinion. So, but that's what our leadership is not doing. And when I say leadership, it's Democrat, Independent, and others. Who are against what's going on, who believe in what's happening. And, and I have called out Hakeem Jeffries. Somebody just asked me about that. I've called out Chuck Schumer. I can't even believe Hakeem Jeffries is from Brooklyn. All right. He's got to have been from the softest part of Brooklyn ever. But he doesn't raise his voice. He thinks he's the cooling saucer of democracy when in fact he's supposed to be the firebrand. So that's why people are upset there. Let me go through a couple of more questions, guys, and we'll head out. Because it's a nice Saturday. It's sunny where I'm at. It was cool this morning. I had to put on my my Nantucket sweater. It was so cool. So somebody wrote, U.S. military lost to Ukrainian drones in a joint exercise as Pentagon struggles to catch up to modern warfare. Your thoughts, Malcolm, especially since you serve both militaries. I served with the Ukrainian army at the beginning of the drone war. Told you that story about my buddy, Maca King of Drones. He and I were developing the drone drop system on our specific drones. I have videos of us playing with it and making bombs and how to drop hand grenades. That's what the Ukrainians did when they went to a U.S. exercise at Grafenwehr, which is our very big U.S. Army NATO training center in central Germany. But it goes both ways. The Ukrainians were on the the opposition force, and they were attacking us. And yes, they dropped tennis balls and all sorts of things and cooked an entire U.S. Army unit.
And it's the third time they do it. It's the third time they do it.
Well, you got to get your ass kicked 3 times to suddenly realize, hey, maybe we're doing this wrong. But lessons were learned from that. So it's important that to know that the U.S. is learning lessons. The problem is we're so big and so massive that it will take years for the U.S. Army to adjust to this. And we better hope that there's not a war. Kevin Nelson says he's been to Grafenberg. Yeah, buddy. So that's an important thing for us to know.
The biggest lesson of this war is the strongest nation in the world with a strong man can become the weakest nation in the world.
True. Well, that's happening. You know what? It's almost as if he was sent here to destroy us, and he couldn't do a better job. He's doing an excellent job at that. Teresa A. Clark says, how many carrier groups are on the way to the Middle East? 1. The USS George Washington is coming in from the Pacific to relieve the USS Abraham Lincoln. By the way, if you guys want a deep dive into my discussions about the catapult situation and steam and the ground sanctions or the ground blockade they want to do, go watch Mario Nuafal's show with me yesterday. And I get deep into the catapult situation and the ground blockade. And it turns out I'm like a big favorite over there. I didn't know that. Although, some other guys over there are like, oh, we started talking about Jackson Hinkle. Did you know Jackson Hinkle went to Tehran for the funeral of Khamenei and was up there on stage going death to America in English? And he said, well, is that offensive? Is that Jackson Hinkle? The guy who...
Jackson,
yes. Al-Hinkle.
He also went to Hassan Nasrallah. He also went to Hassan Nasrallah funeral.
And he went to Yemen to go high-five the Houthis, right?
Yeah, he hung out with them, yes, I saw.
So I said, the only thing I'm offended by that, because that's his right, freedom of speech. The only thing I'm offended at, he's so fucking lazy, he wouldn't learn to say Bag America, which is Farsi for down America. Anyone who's ever watched them has seen that, right? And somebody said Hinkle is in Moscow. Of course he is. Of course he's in Moscow. He lives in Russia now, chugging Putin, right? Getting that, savoring that pasty white Putin ass. But he has a right to do this stupid shit. But at some point, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump administration sees that guy as another Anwar al-Awlaki. I said at some point he could earn his Hellfire missile. That being said, that is it for today's show. I'm going to let you guys go early so all of you can go cut your grass. I got to do stuff around the house. I've got maintenance. We're putting in wainscoting, and I actually have to move a 1/4-ton stair this morning out of the way, an old stairway that we're going to dismantle. So that's what I'm doing today. What are you guys doing? And I'm cleaning this ginormous house full of spider webs and dust. So we will see you tomorrow. Jacob, you going to be here around tomorrow?
I'll be around tomorrow.
You're going to be around tomorrow?
I'll be right here.
All right.
Yes, sir.
You guys go over to YouTube. Subscribe to me on YouTube and subscribe to me on Substack. You're already subscribed on Substack. But if you want in on the most hilarious chat in the history of mankind and special events, you have to become a paid subscriber. $7 a month ain't going to hurt you. I really appreciate all of you who are doing that. And go help Wajeeh out to become a U.S. citizen. That brother needs all the help he can get. That's for sure. So he and Jacob can all go to Yemen.
The consultation alone was $500.
Wallahi. I'm telling you, it's hard to become an American citizen, and now they're stripping people of their citizenship. Does that mean they get a rebate? Probably not. All right, guys. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.